Cool. All right, custom models. So um, let's just say you build a custom model, you wait 24 hours, you wait 2 days, however long it builds, the model comes out, maybe it's really big, maybe it's smaller than you want, and it flops. You call everybody, no one's interested. It's like, what's going on? The ads increase. Like, why isn't the model working? So custom models is all about being as specific as possible. So I'm going to show you some custom models that people have built. I do have I'm not going to show you their names or anything, but I'm going to show you an example of some custom models and show you why they would work or why they won't work, but then go into how to make it so they do work and go into some of the protocols behind it. Because this is probably one of the biggest leverage points you can have for your clients is building them custom models. So let's grab, let me see. Okay, let's grab this one. So I'm going to grab this custom model, put it in here. Get rid of the highlighter. Okay, so this is the custom model that somebody did. I'm not going to read the whole thing out. It's like this audience includes individual searching for premium custom suits with elite tailored brands like Daniel, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to point out all the noise. Okay, so what is noise? Noise is basically stuff you don't want. Okay, so we're trying to filter out the noise. Now, it's no exaggeration. Like I know when I'm like, oh, yeah, this many behaviors, people are like, oh yeah, right, whatever. But literally there is 200 billion URLs that we are looking at every single week. Okay, so 200 billion. So that's a lot. So let's say, for an example, if you were to just type it, use a generic keyword or use something like, oh, I'm looking for people that are looking for a new roof. Like how you define that is so, so important. So when I was talking about keywords with people a little while ago, they were like, oh, you're saying I shouldn't use keywords? And I said, no, I'm not saying you shouldn't use keywords, but keywords are only the tip of the iceberg. Okay, so let's say here, keywords are like on top of here. You're able to say, well, I'm looking for people that are looking for stuff tied to these keywords, which, there could be, if I type in Daniel George, that's obviously a brand, but there could be Daniel George, the person. There could be pretty much any mention of Daniel George. Like they could be pulling in things from friggin' somebody selling it on eBay. Like keywords just don't cut it because they don't have the full semantics. So what you want to do is you need to create detailed descriptions that train the model. Otherwise, you're going to pick up noise. So with this one, for an example, you can see here, so this audience includes individuals searching premium custom suits from elite tailoring brands like Daniel George, Lenny Custom, Gentleman's Guru, menswear, international fabrics, personalized fittings. Now we've got weddings, luxury brands, tailoring services. So there's a lot of noise in this model. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to point out here is because you're mentioning multiple examples, what's happening is it's looking like there's probably so many websites that mention this, and that. Pretty much any e-com store that's luxury is going to mention this, that, and that. So what we need to do is we need to figure out how to drill down as much as humanly possible. And that's what I want to talk about today. Now, let me just do a quick little temp check. Is this making sense for everyone in terms of how you need to be granular? And can you guys see how this description would confuse a language learning model? Because you're talking 200 billion behaviors. Now, probably thing I get is like, oh, are those behaviors? Are you looking at keywords? Is that search intent? Is that blah, blah, blah? It's everything. People get to the URL in so many different ways. Like when we say like, oh, we have like keyword data, like Google is not coming to us and giving us a list of keywords that only we have, no one else has. What we do is we analyze URLs, we can see where people came from. And based on where they came from is how we prioritize how we're going to track that level of intent. So they could have come from a Google search. They could have come from an ad. They could be looking stuff from ChatGPT. How they get there depends on like how we categorize it. And that's what we get into basically how to get stuff really, really nailed in terms of getting these descriptions. Okay, so what we're doing for custom models now, and it's a little bit different to what it used to, is we're doing what's called lenses, which is basically thinking about how the consumer approaches the search. So what I'll do is let's grab something from here and I'll show you what we have built out just as like a little helper from like the AI, and I'll show you how you can build a custom model that's absolutely lethal. Okay. So first of all, we're looking at premium custom suits. Okay, so premium custom suits is a topic. That's what we want. We want people that are looking for premium custom suits. Now, that could mean absolutely anything. If you put premium custom suits in and you run that across 200 billion behaviors, like you're going to get a lot. Like you're going to get premium custom suit blogs, premium custom. There could be a podcast about suits. Like it's unfathomable in terms of the amount of data that you're going to get from that. So it's either going to like confuse the model or it's going to get a really big result of people that you don't necessarily want. So what we'll do is I created this. This is just, I've been feeding all the best models that we've had and I've put it through here if you guys want to use it. We're going to be adjusting the interface for custom models to include some of this, but ultimately for us to be able to accept a custom model, we're just in a topic and a description. So anything else to get there is really just showing you like, this is how we get to that description. So we're going to take premium custom suits and I'm going to go into here. Now, the way that we categorize models, okay, so the way that we categorize a topic or something like that is based on what 6 lenses. Now, a lens is basically how the consumer got there. So let me see. So I'm going to click recommend a lens. So these are the lenses that a consumer will look at and how we categorize models. Okay, so you've got the brand lens, and this is when a consumer is focusing on a certain brand. So for that custom model I was looking at before, if we were to build a brand lens, we would just focus on Daniel George, not Daniel George and Balani Custom and Gentleman's Guru, just Daniel George. That's it. So what we want to do is we want to be able to give the model all the knowledge we have on Daniel George so that it's looking at not just, Daniel George, wherever it is on the internet, but Daniel George, the actual website, and Daniel George reviews. And that's going to pull in just from Daniel George. So that's brands. You've got product. So this is the product of the brand. So let's say Daniel George has a line of suits. That's where we look at the actual product. This one works really, really well. Function. This is what the operation or the utility of the, of what it does. Service, and this is the delivery method. Solution, this is the exact problem that's being solved. And you even have events. So it's like what events people might go to. So these are the lenses in terms of how consumers look up stuff online and how we categorize stuff. So the way that we get custom models to work really well, and the reason why I asked you guys to put your custom models in a form was so that we could rewrite it and add a lens to it. So we started feeding all this stuff inside the AI. And again, this is more like built by me. We actually built a model that writes the model, and that's what we have coming out today. So pretty much every description you guys put in, no matter how good it is, our model rewrites it. But if you want to jump in on this AI, I'll drop the link and you can kind of play around with this. You can see. So what we'll do is I'm going to say, we're going to choose a lens. So let's do a product lens. So I need a product. So I'm looking for people searching for, what was it? Premium suits. Okay, so I'm just going to put in what I want. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a lens. Okay, so this is the topic. So searching for premium suits for luxury tailors, like that's what we want. So this is the audience that we want. But you got to understand there's so many ways that you can get there. So we could focus on, if we were to build an audience, we could focus on going for brands. And now we're looking at premium suit brands. So we're trying to find people that are looking at very specific brands. And that's going to be a really good audience. We could focus on people that are at events. I mean, that's probably not going to be as good for consumers, but for B2B, that would absolutely crush it. We could focus on the function. So we're looking at people that are looking for certain things in terms of how they're choosing their suit. We could focus on the problem solution. So we're focusing on people that are looking for similar to function, but like a little bit more in depth. We could be focusing on service. So there's so many ways that the consumer is going to be looking for premium suits for luxury tailors. Do you guys understand that? Because this is super important to understand how to get your custom models dialed in. Not saying yeses. Makes me a little nervous. Okay, that's all right. I think the biggest thing to understand, and this is like language learning models, guys, and this is pretty advanced stuff. But the biggest thing to understand is that everyone's always thinking about keywords. Everyone speaks to like, I want this keyword, I want this. But you understand that is just not enough to be able to capture true intent. So what we need to do is we need to focus on, here's the topic we want to go for, and there's all the different ways that a consumer gets there, and that is going to be how we're categorizing it so that we can make the model stand out more. Because if we're searching for premium suits and then we're focusing on a certain brand, we're going to use the brand lens and then be like, all right, well, let's go that way. And that's how we're going to categorize it. Now, I'll show you. In terms of what lens to use, doesn't really matter. I mean, you can use whatever lens you want. Product works really well. You can never go wrong with brand. I'm going to do product. So look, I'm looking for people selling premium suits for luxury tailors. Product lens. And then what I've put in here, just for you guys, is I've created a scale from 1 to 5 based on the sophistication level of a client. Okay. So how aware they are versus how unaware they are. So if I put a 5, that means it's going to go hyper specific. Now, this thing's not perfect, but this just shows you how you should be doing the research. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So I don't know much about suits and things like that, but this is more or less, yeah. So, okay, so we got product lens. We got made to measure suit linings, floating canvas construction, hand rolled labels in custom Savile Row jackets, private fitting kits for bespoke tailoring. Okay, so you see how this is a product of other brands. So let's say, for an example, I wanted to do made to measure suit linings. So let's grab this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab this. This is still not perfect, but it's better than what we had. So instead of saying, hey, we're looking for people that are looking for premium suits, we're going to go product. And then, oops, sorry, I'll put that in later. We're going to use this. So this is focused on just all brands, anyone looking for luxury suits. Whereas this is made to measure suit linings for high net worth clients, represents a discreet yet defined feature in luxury tailoring, allow weavers to personalize the internal aesthetics and performance of their garments, go beyond offering bespoke choices. So all we need, like, I would probably word this a little bit differently. There's a little bit of noise in here. Like, we don't really need that. But see how here we're focusing really hard on that particular product that these brands offer. So now if I'm running an ad or if I was doing an outbound campaign or whatever, I'm going to get people that are not just looking for premium custom suits, but they're looking for made to measure suit linings. See how you can get really, really granular in there. Let's do another one. Let's come back here. Let's do the because we just had it through a form, we still submitted them, but we receive over 100 custom models to rewrite, and we went through this exact process. So we're processing all those, but my hope is that as we provide more and more training to you guys and we start adjusting the interface to be able to include some of these AI descriptions, that you'll be able to get your custom models more refined. Because what's going to happen is if you do a custom model that's too broad, it takes longer to build and it just clogs up the system. Whereas if you get exactly what you want, you eliminate all the noise, and we're able to do it way more efficiently. But yeah, your custom models, if you put it in the form, it was being rewritten and submitted. They've taken a little bit longer this time because, like I said, there was 100 custom models that we were actually rewriting ourselves. But how would this work for services? For an example, I need to find searches for interest rate reduction finance loan. Okay, so this is a fantastic example. Like if you're looking for military veterans, like that's what you would focus, like that's great. So interest rate reduction finance loan. So let's grab that. So let's just say suggestion for brand 5. Making sure interest rate reduction refinance loan. So is that kind of it? So that one? I don't know anything about that industry, so you have to tell me. It's any veteran. So are you looking for people that they have to just be a veteran, or are you looking for someone that like is looking? Because one thing I want to also break down is a lot of people in their custom models, they put in the ICP and who they're looking for. Now the thing about that is you're confusing the model because you're not going to find the ICP through intent. That comes later. Like you do that post intent. So like if I'm looking for a refinance for veterans, I can put in this because I know it's going to attract veterans, but I don't have to put this is for veterans in the actual model itself because that's not really going to help us. We're looking for matching to sites, descriptions, content that is very specific to that and then using a certain function. So let's grab this. This would work really well. Okay. So in the, how we would see it is we would see brand, and then we would see VAIRL program, and then it would come up as here. Now, the reason why this is coming up as brand is Robert says something interesting. Could this be a product and could it be a brand? And the answer is yes, it could, which is really, really, this is where it gets a little bit crazy, is sometimes a single topic could be used in multiple different lenses, but once you categorize it, you're able to get exactly what you want. So really what I would do, if you just come in here, you click suggest, and then you just type in the most broad, like whatever you want in terms of there. Just say you want to add a 5, which means you want the highest sophistication level, and just pick a lens. It's going to give you some really good stuff. Okay, so like this one would absolutely crush. This one compared to just hammering in keywords is going to get you exactly what you need. Okay, let's do Ozempic. So suggestion, people looking for Ozempic. Please spell Ozempic. People looking for Ozempic. Let's do function lens. All right, so let's say the thing is, that having this kind of power to be able to find literally anything you want and being able to categorize it, you can match it to the sophistication level of your advertising. So if I'm looking for people that are really looking for Ozempic and are looking for things like this, I'm not focusing on people that are just kind of smashing Ozempic. I'm looking for this GLP-1 mediated appetite suppression, or I'm looking at delayed gastric emptying via semaglutide, blood sugar flattening dynamics. Blood sugar flattening dynamics would absolutely crush finding people that are really, really, really high intent and looking at a very, very specific topic. That would do better than people that are just focusing on Ozempic. Now, the client might be different. They might be like, well, I need people that, I don't want to go that deep because that's going to get people that maybe like they're doctors or something. So I need something that's going to be a little bit broader. So just put this as a 3. We're looking at weight loss mechanism, hormone satiety response. So this is the function that comes in from Ozempic. So it depends what kind of consumer you want. Like that your consumer is broken up based on these lenses. You know what I mean? Like, so for an example, my wife's dad, he focuses on like if he's a doctor. So if he was going to take Ozempic, he wouldn't be focusing on just Ozempic. He would be focusing on the specific functions. And he would actually be a higher intent consumer than someone who's just smashing around on Ozempic. But if you wanted to do that, you just do make it brand 5. Here is probably still, I would say make it 3. Like, so like here we're still getting some stuff research when you go really granular. For Ozempic, and we're talking like a brand lens, and I might just start a new chat to chuck that in there just because we're still getting some stuff from the function. But the idea, you don't have to use this by the way, but the idea is to focus on like one thing and very well. So say like if you want to do Ozempic and semaglutide, you could just do semaglutide and do a description just on that. I'll share it once. I did share it already, but I'll share it again. Let me just grab it. I've been create. I have created detailed buyer personas with custom algo and LMs, and I'm producing all the keywords that this particular buyer will be searching for when I enter in this keyword into the keyword parameters. So keywords just aren't enough. You need an actual description. Part of the model that we have that rewrites the model for you guys is we're plugged into an API with Ahrefs, and we do a similar thing in terms of looking at uh, we'll take a particular keyword or expression, and then we'll run it through every single industry and see like how it's interpreted differently, and then filter out that noise and create basically exclusions. So we do that on the back end because let's say for an example, if I was to do let's look at this one. VAIRL. If that was named anything else for any other industry, even though it's like it's a term that's specific to that industry, we'd want to filter that out. Let me add this in for you guys. Just trying to share this. My GPTs. Just trying to share the got some model with you guys. Sorry, the builder. Yeah, let's do divorce. We'll go through there. Now the pre-mades, we already go through this type of protocol with the pre-mades. But if you're looking for somebody that's looking at just roofing services compared to someone looking at a certain brand, there's going to be a difference in terms of how, you know, the level of intent for that. Let me just share this, copy link, and there. All right, so let's do somebody looking for divorce. So let's do suggestions. All right, just post that in for everyone. Okay, we're looking at service lens. I put it as a 5, so it's getting like super grand. Let's make it 2. So we're looking at, you could do local attorney consultations, family law support service, in-person divorce mediation. So you see how like you've got divorce lawyer, but then the service lens is different because if somebody's really looking for a divorce lawyer, they're not just like divorce lawyer here. They're looking at, I'm not saying they're that smart where they're inside of Google typing in-person divorce mediation. Like what I'm saying is they're on websites that represent that. So that's what you're going to pick up when you use a model like this. And that's how you get the really, really high intent. So you would do something like, let's do local divorce attorney consultations. Yeah, I did it. I didn't do a flat fee one. So you see here. So instead of just saying I want a divorce attorney, we're looking at local divorce attorney consultations for one-on-one legal guidance for individuals doing early stages of divorce, separation, divorce, offer initial in-person virtual session. So now what we're doing is we're trying to find, we're not only looking at people that are just looking for a divorce lawyer, we're trying to find people that are actually on specific websites in inner pages of other websites of lawyers that are trying to book consultations. So this is going to be a way better model than someone just looking at divorce lawyers. Does that make sense for everyone about how you can go granular? And can you see like where noise might come from? So let's do some more. Anyone want to throw any other suggestions in? Buying a house. Okay. That could mean anything. Could be a blog on how to buy a house that has nothing to do with your audience. It could be, yeah, like could be anything. But let's try. Okay, people suggestions, people buying a house, and let's do product 5. So when we do a 5, we get really in-depth stuff. So like escrow integrated mortgage calculators for first home buyers, like that one would absolutely crush. Now, I'm not saying that person's Googling that particular phrase because people don't work like that. What I'm saying is we're trying to train the model to find people that are on these types of sites and doing these types of actions. Because when we were going to release Pixel V3, Pixel V3 is actually what we use in terms of like how we're collecting intent, because the V3 model for the Pixel, it doesn't just track page views, it tracks events. So we're not only able to see people on those websites, we're able to see time on site, scroll depth, what buttons they're clicking. We're able to see the pages they're on, how deep they're going. So it's not just looking at, are they on these sites? It's how often they go on these sites. It's how specific are the websites. Were they on these websites, 3 months ago compared to today? Like, has across 7 days last week to this week, like, is there any difference? So it's looking at so many different things. But this one here, integrated mortgage calculators, this one, let's grab that. See how this one is going to perform really well when you're looking for people that are trying to buy a house. Because we're not just looking at people that are trying to buy a house, we're looking at people that are on integrated mortgage calculator for advanced home financing tools. Let's do, okay, suggestion, people looking. So let's do product. Oh, let's do function 5. So if you want to find really good agencies, then doing a cold email sequence, like if you want to have cold email that absolutely crushes, you would start looking at functions for cold email. So you would focus on like this. So let's do warm-ups. Let's do adaptive inbox rotation for deliverability scaling. That one for cold email. And then you put an agency filter on once you've built the audience. You never put the ICP on inside the intent. That's a big no-no. That confuses the LLM. So for an example, if you're saying, if I put agencies in there, so like, we're trying to just insert agencies because I'm worried we're not going to target anyone that's agencies. That's going to confuse the model. We're focusing just on the function. And if we're looking at all the people that are doing adaptive inbox rotation for deliverability scaling, and that's the content they're looking at, that's what they're researching for, we're going to then add agency after that model's built. And then we're going to be able to find the agencies that are looking for that. But people that are looking for that are going to be high intent, as opposed to someone just like banging around for cold email. Let's see what that comes out as a description, actually. Okay, so do you see how this description is going to absolutely perform so much better than just somebody looking for cold email? Because someone looking for cold email, are they watching cold email videos? Are they, is their first time looking at cold email? Like, you got to look at how deep someone's going to a topic, and that's how you can build the description and then train the model. I think once you guys understand this, you're going to build such good models for your clients and yourself. That's a really good question, Ryan. Choose one lens, one topic. So let me go to the documentation because I don't know if everybody's read this yet, but let me grab the models guide. So one topic, one lens, one description. So precision matters. So basically, you don't even want to slightly drift away because that's going to create noise. So one topic, one lens, one paragraph, no keyword stuffing, no comparisons, no fluff, just exactly what that description is based on the function, based on the lens. So bad description. Oh, HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive for all CRM solutions to help business manage their sales pipeline. That's going to just destroy in terms of in a bad way. It mentions 3 brands. You're going to get pages like G2, Captura, Reddit comparisons, right? Example of what to do. Just focus on Pipedrive. Pipedrive is a CRM platform built to help small and mid-sized sales teams track deals, automate workflows, and visualize pipeline stages in real time. We're focusing on the go-to-market features of Pipedrive. Another example, Alex Hormozi. Let's say I want to do something with Alex Hormozi. I want to focus on Alex Hormozi, the brand. If I just put in Alex Hormozi, oh, I want to focus on agencies looking for Alex Hormozi. People look for, like, we've got YouTube shorts, we got 10,000 Twitter threads, we've got blog posts about him or about his work. So what we need to do is we need to focus on Alex Hormozi, his achievements, what he's done, so that we're picking up um, content surrounding Alex Hormozi that isn't just basic blogs or isn't just basic YouTube shorts or things like that, but it's actually a detailed description of people that are looking for Alex Hormozi for a certain reason. So the answer to that is choose one lens, one topic, one description. People get scared because they're like, oh, I don't want to waste my custom model. So they try to jam everything in. And what happens is they actually create all this noise and it's unnecessary, right? Like if I have a client who's a competitor of Pipedrive and they're trying to find people that are looking for a CRM, I don't have to keyword stuff all my competitors inside of here. Just pick Pipedrive and narrow it down, and I'm going to get a way better custom model than I would if I just keyword stuffed. So if people haven't got custom models to work, it's just because you're getting just so much stuff. Like one person was like, I created a custom model, like 400,000 people. That can't be right. This is really niche. And it's like, yeah, it's really niche, but the way that you're explaining it is the model is just like, okay, well, let's just pick up all the websites and all the content of this. So that's why we need to get really, really granular and use lenses. That's kind of like our way to make sure that we're put in certain pools of audiences. Does that make sense, Ryan? So you want to have one lens, one topic, one description, and just focusing on that lens in the description. All right, let's try another one. Government retirement plans. So let's pull that up. I did post this, Doc. It's funny because like I post all this stuff in school and then no one sees it. And then somebody writes a question like, hey, how do we do this? And then somebody comments like, yeah, I want to know how to do that. Yeah, how do we do that? And then like my original post just gets totally. So we're trying to figure out a way to have that so you guys can see it. But yeah, it's all inside of here. Um, if you guys, so all these docs are just available at docs.audiencelab.io. So you can find all the documents for everything inside of there. Just docs, audiencelab.io, webhook docs, everything. Um, government retirement plans. Let's try that. So let's come in here. Let's do suggestion, government retirement plan. Let's do service 5. Yeah. So actually, so how I train the agent that I have here, I mean, you can use this agent by yourselves and it's really good. Like I'm training this agent every day. There was kind of a hidden agenda between, well, not a hidden agenda, but the reason why I got you guys to submit your custom models so we could review them before we put them through the endpoint was because I wanted to see what you were doing wrong and then put this into the agent. And then what I did was I documented a lot of stuff here so that you can use the system prompt that I'm using. So I'll continually update this, but if you use that agent that I created here, which I dropped the link and also put it in school and also put it in the chat here, you should be able to get really, really refined descriptions. Okay, so we're looking at people retirement plans, federal retirement benefit counseling, state pension payout planning, civil service retirement application. I think that might be good. Tiered benefit navigation services, like that's at a granular. No, okay, so that's too granular. People searching government retirement plan. Let's do brand 3. I might have to play around with that, but if you just if you just kind of play around with it, you get exactly what you want. Okay, so let's do here. So that one is going to be the model that we would use. Oh, it did it anyway. It's fine. So see how this description is going to be way better than just focusing on something like I'm looking for, yeah, sure, I'll paste it in. What about medical practices or med spas looking for molecular hydrogen as a new modality for their practice? That's an interesting one. Okay, so let's paste this one in here. So we got medical practices. So medical practices, remember, is the person we're looking at. We don't have to include the person we're looking at for the model because the idea is to just really hammer down on what they're looking for, and then we can add that later. So what we're looking for is molecular hydrogen. Let's just grab that. I don't know. That might be too specific. Let me see. Like just no suggestions. So let's go in here. Suggestions. Product. So this is what we'd be looking at. So we're looking at dual delivery hydrogen facial systems, portable H inhalation units, topical hydrogen infused serums, molecular hydrogen infusion machines. So this one. So that's the description we want to use. Now, what's so cool about this is like you can do this and then you can start putting in like domains or like there's so much stuff you can do. So like if I come into here, let's do like a really cool strategy is like a Dream 100 strategy where like if you collect all the domains of the Dream 100 list that your client has and you put it inside, let me just change the color here. So if I go and let's say for an example, I want to do like, and then let's do whale attribution. What is it? Triple whale? Triple whale. Triplewhale.com. Like if you whack in your company domains, right? For a client, and I think you can add up to, we had somebody add up to 2,000 who was doing like a big medical project. And then you pull up the domains here. Then if you go to your audience list, so like let's say for an example, I've got this people that are, I've got staff from High Rose, I've got staff from Segment, and I've got staff from Triple Whale. So it's like 1,400 people, right? So if I was to do this, and then I was to run a custom model on top of that, I would be able to get so granular. It might be too small to do it like that, but playing with the domains and playing with the ICP after the fact of building the intent, that's how you want to do it. So just to be clear, so like with this, when we came back, it'd be so tempting to put in, I'm looking for medical practices, right? But the fact is, if you just focus heavily on this as a topic and get a really good description using the right lens, you're likely going to get medical practice anyway. Then what you can do is once you've built that model, then you can add medical practices. You could find a list of medical practices and their domains and put it in there. You could use the industry tag. There's so many ways you could find medical practices, but do that after the fact. You don't put that into the model. Um, all right, let's do some more. Uh, People in foreclosure. Final expense insurance. So let's do suggestion. Let's do less specific. Let's do 3. Whole life final expense policy, funerals and burial costs. That would be a really good one. Okay. This one worked really well. Might be a little bit of noise in that one because I don't really need to mention those numbers, but this one I think would still work well. It'd work better than what a lot of people do. Okay, so once you've created a description, next steps. So currently, if I was to go and build a model, it goes to here and it goes to an actual form. Now, it's not like it's just a form and then like it doesn't just sits there, but it goes to the form, our team reviews it, then it submits to the endpoint, so it's taking a bit longer. After this training that I've run now, I'm going to post it. And then probably tonight, we'll put the new endpoint in, allowing people to just go directly to the endpoint. And hopefully, there's more specific custom models so that we only have to use our endpoint to rewrite them like once. So yeah, we'll put the new endpoint live either tonight or tomorrow. Otherwise, if you submit it by here, our team's doing it anyway. But the whole goal is to get you guys doing granular specific models that have that lens built in the description, using that bot so that we can get your models to perform how you want. Because a lot of them right now, like the 100 plus we have from submitted, we were just rewriting those and we're like, all right, well, this person wants to target this, but there's no way they're going to get that with that description. Okay, so here's a great example. So I wanted to see what comes back with estimated audience size, keywords, targeting options. Can you check my keywords? Custom model for cash offer. So cash offer to buy a house. Okay, so we're looking for, let me paste this in. Okay, so we want a cash offer to buy a house in Massachusetts. So pop quiz, do we mention that we're looking for people in Massachusetts in our model? No, we do not. Because that's going to just confuse the LLM and we're going to get all kinds of stuff. We don't want that. We were looking at cash offer to buy houses. That's it. So we'll go over to here. Let's do suggestion. Cash offer to buy a house. Let's do service 5. Okay. I think some really good ones here. Direct buy programs, no contingency cash services, 24-hour cash home offers for inherited property sales. Oh, that one would fucking crush if you were going to do that for like an outbound campaign. So you go description. And that's what you'd use. Then you would add Massachusetts as a field later on. Okay. Who asked about the home loan? Who else about cash? That was Marcio. So Marcio, do you see what I mean in terms of yeah. Uh I have to check. It depends entirely what plan you're on. Um no, more keywords is going to equal more noise. If I just keyword stuff in this, think about it. Okay, guys, think about it like this. You know, in the old days in SEO where you could just basically keyword stuff and you could almost like highlight it in white so that people didn't see it. Like it's like that. You don't have to keyword stuff in these models. The AI is smart enough to be able to pick up, and the LLM smart enough to pick up with a detailed description of what you want. So you don't have to keyword stuff. You don't have to be worried like, oh, what if it misses out on this? Just focus heavily on the specific topic. Zero down financing for HVAC upgrades. So utility backed zero down HVAC programs would probably work well. So you grab this description. Now, this thing is like I basically built this based on all the descriptions that I've been writing for clients. So there's like hundreds of descriptions in here in the back end. I'll adjust this a little bit more and then we're going to put this in the actual interface. But for now, I want you guys to play around with this because there could be mistakes in terms of like, I don't want that or anything like that. Because I'm not the genius behind the LLM. Just so you guys know, I'm not the one that does that. We have a whole team that does that. And the idea is that this is just so you can get the description right. But we are going to put more stuff in the actual interface for you to write these. So you don't have to kind of jump back from ChatGPT. But I want to firstly see what you guys are putting in. And the reason we had you guys submit your models is to see like how you're getting to them. And I think what's going on is a lot of people want to just include as much as they can because they're worried they're going to miss out on something. But don't worry, you're not. Like that's going to be a really good audience. Like that's going to work well. That's going to crush it. All right, let's do one more for our custom models and I'll answer some questions. Does anyone have a custom model? All right, chuck it in. All right, Gabby, just want to chuck in. You don't have to chuck in the model. Just chuck in just a brief description of, I want people looking for this. Accident control responses. What is that? Um, Impact responses. Okay. Suggestions. Product 5. So like we can get super granular there. I think though, because we do accident control responses, we might have to put in like more about what it's for. Um, like impact responses. I don't know if that's correct, but like for an example, wearable panic alert devices for on-site accidents would be really good. Yeah, say suggestion. Like that one would be pretty specific, but let's see what the description would be like on that. I don't know how big the model would be, but like I said, it's 200 billion URLs. So like that's a lot. So there's going to be something in there. So that's what that would look like. We're focusing on cache for optimization consulting. Could be a little bit different to what you want, but this is like a product lens that you go through. Investors looking to invest in precious metals. Let's see function. So we've got capital preservation, risk transfer function, precious metals. So that would find some really, really good investors doing it that way. What you could do, is you would come in here and you could do event lens. Central bank announcements. So the event lens, I'm just adjusting because you actually want to have specific dates, so you can pick that up, but you can get stuff from people that are going to events as well. For cold calling, I was getting people to enter the phone when I cold called and the list skip trace data and it matched the skip trace name. It was amazing, but they weren't always looking for my pre-made searches. With custom models, the cold calling percentage would be better at because it's more granular. It entirely depends the pre-made that you're putting in. I think what probably happened is the pre-made you're putting in was broader than what you actually wanted because we have pre-mades for ads, we have pre-mades for like outbound. I think custom models, you're always going to get better because it's unique to you and exactly what you want. We're updating. I think we've put in like, we've got like 6,000 more audiences we're adding in. But it entirely depends on what that pre-made is. And you can see the lens of the pre-made by looking at like the string. You can see business, that whereas like you could see consumer. So it depends on like how you're putting it in. Okay, Jeff Gillen, is this a good custom for people searching for a personal attorneys? All right, so this is your model. Okay, noise, 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 noise. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The answer is no. That's okay. Like actually we built it in this. I've made this thing too nice. I need to make it a little bit more brutal, but review description. Let's see if this thing's client or not. It's using the Clarity 5. So customer problem, down to issue. There's no explanation what the attorney services actually do. Okay, so this is another way you can do it is you can actually put in your description. So Clarity 5 is a model that I created to critique your descriptions that I taught the AI. Um, so you've got your customer problem. You don't have your leverage point, so there's no explanation of what the attorney services actually do. You've got the application context, which is partial, so there's context implied. Real world segmentation, you mentioned accidents, but it doesn't really mention like causes. And this is just ITI, ignore the yelling, which means it's free from hype or brand stacking, clean and factual. I would say, so this is even this, I would say is not how I'd really want it. So let's go, let's go here. So are we looking for personal injury attorneys for just any legal assistance? Are we looking for malpractice? We're looking for workplace injuries. Like those are three, well, those are very, very different. Can be any. Okay. So in a situation like that, maybe we want to focus on a function instead. So individuals, personal injury attorney. Okay. So let's come in here. Individuals who experience. So let's do suggestions. Suggestion individuals who experience injuries and actively search for a personal injury attorney for motor vehicle. For motor vehicle accidents? Okay. Or yeah. Let's do brand lens or so I put in 4. So the brand lens isn't really picking up specific brands. Let's do 5. Did we do, oh, we did product. Did we do brand or we did product? Name car. See, I would this year, like I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't do personal injury brands, legal brands, of track records. That's going to pick up too much noise. I'd focus on a certain brand. So I'd just say, can you specify the exact brands? Yeah, okay. I'll come in, but Morgan and Morgan, Rossford Injury Lawyers, it's basically saying it can't break protocol because we were in the review stage. If you open up a new chat and then you did brand, you'd be able to get that. But because it still thinks we're reviewing stuff and it's running through the Clarity 5 framework. But in short, just create a new tab, say suggestions for people looking for personal injury lawyer for motor accident brand, and it will give you the brands. Okay. We're gonna wrap up there. Uh we're just on top of the hour. Need setting up model, sync, and source for CDP on Facebook ads. First time user. Okay. All right. We've got like 5 more minutes. So I'll cancel this. We'll stop recording this.